Trump gets in trouble on Twitter again.
What do you do this time?
Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America. First of all, exciting news to all of our fellow Middle Americans. We actually have a contact page on Facebook now. And we got it customized. So it's facebook.com/America Middle. So you just take Middle America and flip it, America Middle. And then you can get in. So if you want to connect with me or Sori, if you have a follow-up question or comment or concern or even something that you want to post, go for it. It's a free speech environment, so you can post whatever you want, as long as you're not, actively going out there to try to incite violence. We're gonna let it fly because we're very, very big believers in free speech. Mm-hmm. So if you're not the type of person that can countenance strident disagreement, then that page isn't for you.
Nope.
But there it is, y'all. Facebook.com/America Middle. Okay. Now, a bunch of my friends were messaging me this stuff, saying, Vin, you got to cover this, Vin, you got to cover this. And it was apparently Trump said something, and then some guy on CNN went after him. And so we are reacting. We're reacting to this video.
I can't wait to hear it.
This should be interesting. All right, so let's go for it.
This morning, the president attacked another member of Congress on Twitter. This time, it's House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings. He wrote this: Cummings' district is a disgusting, rat and rodent infested mess. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. No human being would want to live there. Infested. That's usually reserved for references to rodents and insects, but we've seen the president invoke infestation to criticize lawmakers before. You see a pattern here? Just 2 weeks ago, President Trump attacked 4 minority congresswomen. Why don't they go back to the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Reminder, 3 of them were born here. All of them are American. Infested, he says. A week before his inauguration, January 2017, Congressman John Lewis should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart, not to mention crime-infested. Donald Trump has tweeted more than 43,000 times. He's insulted thousands of people, many different types of people. But when he tweets about infestation, it's about black and brown people. September 2014, at the height of an urgent health emergency, why are we sending thousands of ill-trained soldiers into Ebola-infested areas of Africa? Bring the plague to the U.S.? Obama is so stupid. Infested, he says. There's a revolution going on in California. So many sanctuary areas want out of this ridiculous crime-infested and breeding concept. Infested, he says. The president says about Congressman Cummings' district,
Is he getting emotional?
Yeah.
that no human would want to live there. You know who did, Mr. President? I did. From the day I was brought home from the hospital to the day I left for college. And a lot of people I care about still do. There are challenges, no doubt. But people are proud of their community. I don't want to sound self-righteous, but people get up and go to work there. They care for their families there. They love their children who pledge allegiance to the flag, just like people who live in districts of congressmen who support you, sir. They are Americans too. We'll be right back.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. That escalated quickly. So that's why the guy got a little bit emotional there.
Yeah, 'cause it's his hometown.
It's his hometown. And I guess the main issue here is Trump used the term infested. Apparently in Trump's lexicon, infested is just a word that he uses. You look confused.
I feel like what this guy is saying is he's trying to spin this, that when Trump uses the word infested, he's talking about like where black and brown people live, and the infestation is not like that's talk. It's like a negative way of talking about black and brown people.
Well, he's saying every time that Trump uses the term, he's always attacking black and brown people.
Well,
Which
he's
really
talking about crime infestation.
Right. Well, well, he was also talking about rat infestations.
I
Apparently.
know, yeah. So what's the?
Apparently,
I don't
as
agree.
well.
I don't agree with this guy at all. I mean, maybe you'll help change my mind on it. What is your perception on this? I feel like that this is just going overboard. Like, he didn't say, and when he said no human would want to live there, like, did these people want to live in it? If it's rodent infested and all that, is that what you want, or you're stuck there?
What's funny to me,
what
is that he said, "I did live there," which means
right. He's no longer.
He no
there.
longer lives there.
Right.
He said, "I did live there until I went to college." You know what that means? That means the big homie lived there. He went to college.
Got out of Dodge.
And then as soon as he got himself a nice upper middle class salary, he didn't go back to the hood.
Yeah.
I feel like this guy is I kind of feel like this is some political grandstanding, and he's wagering that white people, like suburban white people, don't understand the mentality of black people in the hood. Mm-hmm. Because to an outsider looking in, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. But for me, as somebody who was in the hood, everybody knows that your goal is to get out. Trump is right. Nobody wants to live in the hood. You know, the Biggie's rapping, so I can cop a Benz and get the hell out the hood.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to make it out of the hood. So he's right. Nobody wants to live there. And the proof that nobody wants to live there is, I don't know who the name of this brother. What's this guy's name? I don't know his name. But somebody, I'm going to go check my messages to see if somebody can get me this brother's name. But I don't understand. Like, everybody wants out of the hood. When I was in the Bronx, New York, and, you know, you go 149th and Grand Concourse and you'd see these giant-sized rats. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we lived in some pretty grimy areas where you turn on the lights and there were rats and roaches literally, like, carpeting your floor in the kitchen. True story.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I used to, you know, take the 5 train from Baychester Avenue.
You lived in a place like that?
Yeah, you take the 5 train from Baychester Avenue.
No wonder you look at me like I'm crazy when
You connect at 149th and Grand Concourse. You take the 4 train, and we got off at 170th Street. That's where we lived. And where we lived, it was infested with roaches and rats, and we hated it. And me and my brother talked about never putting our kids in this situation and wanting to be out of there.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't want to be there. And guess what? The minute I got an opportunity to get out of there, I took it. And the minute any rapper gets an opportunity, they take it.
And we have no plans of moving back there.
And neither does this brother. Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Like, rappers have been saying this for millennia. Everybody's trying to get out the hood. Nobody wants to live like that. Look at Biggie's, you know, Juicy. It's a classic song from Biggie where, you know, no heat, wonder why Christmas missed. Like, nobody wants to be in that situation. Trump didn't say that they weren't Americans. What he's saying is, you got all this crime in your area and you have a rat infestation. You got to deal with that. You can't have these people living in this environment. Yeah. To me, he's advocating for the people there.
That's true. What in the world? I just feel like that's a giant stretch.
So if Trump, so let me get this straight. What should Trump have said? He should have said, there is, this place is infested with rats and with crime, and that's exactly where black people need to be. Right. If he would have said something like that, everybody went crazy on him. Mm-hmm. But instead he says, no human being would want to live there. I agree. When we were in the hood, we did not want to be there. What is going on? CNN. I don't understand what's happening. Let me try to read this again. It's proving last week during our congressional tour, the border is clean, efficient, and well run, just very crowded. Cumming District is a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. Why is so much money sent to the Elijah Cummings District when it's considered the worst run and most dangerous anywhere in the United States? No human being would want to live there. Where is all the money going? How much is stolen? And investigate this corrupt mess immediately.
What? This is great.
Mr. CNN guy, you forgot to read that. Do you see what Mr. Trump is saying? Mr. Trump is saying the exact same thing that we used to say.
Right.
Which is, all this money is coming to the Bronx. Where is it? Dudes are still getting shut up by the little courts or shut up by Mullally in front of Yankee Stadium. Where is the help? Well, the old Yankee Stadium, because it moved, but Mullally used to be right. You could see, you'd hear it. Mm-hmm. And we used to talk about it all the time. And what he's saying is, wait a second, you guys have all this craziness is happening at the border, and he's claiming that it's very clean and well run, just very crowded. Mm-hmm. That's his claim. I haven't seen anybody, refute that claim. But what he's saying is, you're sitting there and everybody's saying that there's a subhuman border crisis happening and we're treating these people terribly. And what he's saying is, these people are living better than the people in your district.
Right, yeah.
So why don't you go over to your district and do something? This is literally the exact same template that he said to Ilhan, which is, your home country sucks. Right. Why don't you go fix? But here, this is America.
Right.
He's saying, go back there and solve the problem. Yep. Why are you doing all this grandstanding about the border? Your district is infested with rats and crime. Go solve the problem. And secondly, Trump is saying, why are we sending you all this money and the situation hasn't been changed?
Right. It's not getting any better for these people.
These people's lives hasn't been changed.
Nobody's lining their pockets.
Sadak, no human being wants to live there. And what he's saying is, why aren't you guys doing something for these people?
Good for him.
This is a problem. Sorry, Mr. CNN person who probably makes a six-figure income, and you're now in the hanging out with the bourgeoisie. There's lots of people in the hood that would love for some solutions. Most people don't want to wake up and turn on the lights. You know how I am with my insomnia. Mm-hmm. So I'd get up for a midnight snack or whatever. I turn on the lights. You rats running this way, roaches covering the floor. The superintendent they didn't even try.
That's crazy.
It was just accepted that's how it was. And if somebody would have said,
carry a lot of diseases.
Of course. And if somebody would have rolled up into our community and said, hey, I want an investigation to see where this money is going, because people keep getting shot at this park and people keep getting rats and rodents and roaches all over the place, and I'm sending you millions of dollars. I'm going to hold you to account. Where is the money going? Why aren't you helping these people? These are inhumane conditions. Mm-hmm. You honestly going to try to tell me that this is racism?
It's the exact opposite.
When
he's saying human beings are living there and they shouldn't be in this inhumane condition.
When you've really jumped the shark is when you can't tell who your friends and who your enemies are. Your enemies are the people that will tell you, oh, you live among rats and crime and roaches? Oh, well, that's what you should live in that condition. That's what black people in America are good for. Your friend will say, this is an outrage. Mm-hmm. Why am I sending you all this money? We need to investigate this immediately. That's the real problem. The real issue here that should bring tears to your eyes, especially if you're from that community, sir, is the fact that you're living in a district that's represented by a black man, by the way, which is the same situation that we were in with the Louisiana thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's trying to say that Bush is Kanye, Bush doesn't like black people. Hello! It was black, corrupt politicians that made decisions to not protect those people that put us in that situation. And it's the same thing here. You got a black politician that is running the district terribly, and Trump is saying this guy needs to be held to account. But instead of taking care of his district, this fool is running around to the border complaining about the border, and those people live in a better condition than the people that he was elected to serve.
But the Bible says pick the splinter out of your own eye. No, the plank out of your own eye before you deal with the splinter in your neighbor's.
Right,
That's
right.
exactly what's happening
Right,
here.
and what's amazing is the newscaster didn't read the next line. Where's all the money going?
Yeah.
How much of it was stolen? Because Trump, see, here's the other thing, is Trump is a businessman. He knows when people are embezzling. Mm-hmm. He knows when the books aren't adding up.
Yeah.
How many people do you think that Trump has fired because of embezzlement and things of that nature once his accountant went to square his books with him? When he went to do his forecasting for the next quarter, and he saw somewhere in a line item that millions of dollars were missing or something like that. He knows what happens in those situations. Mm-hmm. How much you want to bet that if an actual investigation happened, that Mr. Cummings would be found to be guilty of some high corruption?
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that Mr. Cummings is not living in any of these areas with the rats, the roaches, and the guns? How much you want to bet? Trump is onto something here. And if CNN, and see what they did, they put the token black guy up there.
I know.
They put the token black guy up there, and then he cried his little crocodile tears about they're Americans too. Yeah, there are Americans, and they shouldn't be living in that condition. Mm-hmm. But black people are so conditioned to live in poverty and squalor that we think that that's okay, apparently. But you know what's funny? This brother didn't think it was okay because he used to live there.
Right, exactly.
You used to live there, and you got family and friends that live there, but I guarantee you, I bet my firstborn that they don't want to live there. And I guarantee you that if they had the opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge, they'd take it. But you want to sit here and manipulate these white people on CNN as if black people living in the hood in those conditions like it there. None of us likes it there. I just had this conversation with somebody. They were talking to me about Kamala Harris and how Kamala Harris is supposedly going to be this black savior for black people. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Which one is she?
Kamala, she's the ex-lawyer.
Oh, is that the one that we were watching and you were like, I gotta shut this off?
I had to shut her off because, she laughed about sending a bunch of black men into you know that Clinton's crime bill?
Yeah.
She was like the number one prosecutor to use that to put black folks in jail, and she was laughing about it. Now all of a sudden she's gonna be some black superhero. I said, look, bro, black Democrats do not care about the black agenda. That is obvious. Black Democrats believe that they can do whatever the hell they want, but just because they're black, they're going to secure the black vote. How comes Mr. Cummings is not under any investigation? I'd like to know.
Yeah.
What's going on here? You got these silly black. It's ridiculous. I love it when leftists try to play the race card. Then they bring their token. And look, watch the other videos. I know that America has a long way to go as far as race relations go, particularly with the police. I get it. I was in New York City. I had many interactions with the NYPD. But that's not this issue, and that's not the way to solve the problem. And it's mind-boggling to me. It is mind-boggling to me that we had 8 years of Barack Hussein Obama, who did literally nothing for us. And Obama would never have called something like this out. And it's affecting us directly. And who calls it out?
Right.
The supposed racist Donald Trump. So he's a racist for saying that these people are living in inhumane conditions. You should be ashamed of yourself, and you need to fix this problem.
Wow.
Representative Elijah Cummings has been a brutal bully, shouting and screaming at the great men and women of the Border Patrol about conditions at the southern border, when actually his Baltimore district is far worse and more dangerous. His district is considered the worst in the USA.
It's funny because the guy that's the CNN guy is actually being a racist. Because he's looking at this situation and saying, white people are too stupid to realize that this is actually for us. Because you're saying black people know what the situation is. Black people know they want to get out of there. They know there needs to be help down in there. So,
well, that's why everybody was crying about Nipsey Hussle. Because what happened with Nipsey is usually what happens is when we get out the hood, we're gone. We've had so many terrible memories and trauma from the hood that none of us want to go back. But then what happened was the big homie Nipsey, he went back to his neighborhood and bought out a storefront. And you know what happened? He got shot in front of the store that he made in the hood to help the people in his neighborhood. Because whenever we try to help each other, this stuff happens because we're so freaking ignorant. Those are the facts. sorry, none of the basketball players, none of the lawyers, none of the doctors. I had a friend, he was actually featured on 2020. His name was Brian. Mm-hmm. When I used to live at 170, and that was the worst place we ever lived. And he was featured on CNN because he went to college. He was the only person from our neighborhood that went to college. He doesn't live there anymore. He doesn't get off the 4 train at 170th anymore to come down to the block. He doesn't do that anymore. We all know this. Good God. Look at any rap song. Dwelling in the past, flashbacks when I was young. Whoever thought I'd have a baby girl and 3 sons? Then he goes on to talk about how he grew up. And it was terrible. Family ain't family no more. We used to play ball, eggs after school, eat grits because we were poor. Poor! We survived winters, snotty nose with no coats. We kept it real, but the older brother still had jokes. And he was talking about getting the roaches out of the cereal box.
Oh, gosh.
And the whole point of the song was, we made it.
Wow.
You silly, silly people. Nobody likes to live in those conditions. And Trump was trying. Now look, do I think that Trump was overcome with love for black people in America? That he had to, no, the guy's his political enemy. Mm-hmm. So I understand. I don't believe that Trump is the reincarnation of Malcolm X. But he's also not the reincarnation of Adolf Hitler. And these leftists keep trying to push this narrative because I honestly feel insulted. I feel like my intelligence is being insulted. Because all this stuff is open source. It's not redacted. We can read and find context. Mr. Cummings, all you have to do to get this brother to stop crying is bring him on a tour to Baltimore and show him that things aren't really that bad. Mr. Cummings, all you have to do to get this brother to stop crying is get this brother an apartment or a house in the heart of your district and see if this brother will live in there. Mm-hmm. Will you? I don't know. Who is this guy? Who is he? I've never heard of him before. Who are you, sir? I mean,
Are you hired just for this?
Let me see. Reporter cries CNN. What's his name? Victor Blackwell. Allahu Akbar. Look, his name is Blackwell. Look at this. Look how they phrase it too. CNN anchor chokes up defending Baltimore against Trump Twitter tirade. Hello!
Wow.
Trump was defending Baltimore. He was attacking Cummings. So what you should say is CNN actor chokes up defending Mr. Elijah Cummings against the people of Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm so sick of this. These leftists and their constant patronizing and insulting of black people. It makes me so angry. Mm-hmm. I had some silly guy. I would have blocked him if he didn't quit the channel himself. He said, what did he say? I'm going to read this shit because it's hilarious to me when white liberals try to tell me how to be black.
What do you mean they try to tell you how to be black? I'm dead ass
serious. Look at this. Where is he? Where did he go? Here it goes. Here's John Medved. Done with you guys. The fact that you as a black man like this idiot makes me not want to listen to any of you for any longer. Hello, Mr. Liberal person, Mr. Leftist person. I don't give a damn how any of you feel about anything. What I'm telling you is I've been black in America. I've actually had the experience. I've actually grown up in these hoods. I've actually seen people shot. I've seen people's faces sliced open because of the crazy violence that happens down over there. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've taken part in it. And I wish when I was growing up, there'd be people that I know that would still be on the planet right now if there was some reform and money was actually going into those areas to help us.
Right.
So I don't want to hear anything from white liberals. They're going to tell me what a black man, who a black man should vote for and how we should feel. I don't need any of you telling me that. Mm-hmm. And this kid here, whoever he is a complete freaking hypocrite. Because you know why I'm calling him a hypocrite and deceptive? Because I'm going to go ahead and say that he's much more intelligent
Right.
than to be triggered by some highlighted words. I'm sure he could read the full context of everything, but this is what happens with the left now. They got their ass kicked with the Mueller investigation. They got completely destroyed. Mueller looks like an old senile liar. And Rachel Maddow et al., the whole of them have gone crazy and lost their minds. So now what they want, what do they do? They go back to the playbook. Trump sent a tweet, he must be a racist. Meanwhile, a couple days ago, U.S. to resume capital punishment for federal inmates. If that's isn't that something to cry about? The reinstitution of federalized capital punishment, that's something to shed some tears over, considering America's history of killing black people, black men unjustly, sending them to the gas chamber, sending them to the electric chair, lynching them unjustly, and the severe consequences of that reinstitution. That's something you can cry about on national media. But this, a guy that's saying we need to investigate where this money is going because the money, the federal money that you are collecting in order to make your district better is not changing.
No improvements.
But you're still spending the money. So we need to investigate. You're saying that that's racist?
He's bringing attention to that district.
And then he goes, "Oh, Trump is racist for saying why are we sending our troops to Ebola-infested Africa?"
I know.
That's where the Ebola.
I was like, "Are you serious?" He didn't say the black people were the infestation. He said that Ebola was the infestation.
Newsflash: that's where the Ebola was. He's trying to make it sound like Trump is only going after people of color. He's only going after people of color. I'm sorry, and you know he's like, look at the lineup, look at the names. They're all people of color. Well, number one, the four, Ilhan and her crew, they've all said crazy stuff about Trump. So if Trump responds to them, now he's insulting a person of color. So what's Trump supposed to do? Not say anything to his political opponents because they're people of color? Does that make sense to you?
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You think? Do you people in the media think all of us are that stupid? No, seriously.
Well, apparently there are a bunch of people that are that stupid.
No, it's only
because
the
they
echo
wouldn't
chamber.
do this.
Nobody. It's because they're in their echo chamber. They can't think about anything. They cannot comprehend that people look at the world differently than them. They still can't get it. They still don't get it.
Well.
And look, and he lied.
America.
He lied. It's not true that he only attacked black people. That's not true. Here's one of the tweets. There's a revolution going on. So many sanctuary heirs want out of this ridiculous crime-infested and breeding concept. Jerry Brown is trying to back out the National Guard at the border, but the people of the state are not happy, want security and safety now. Jerry Brown is white. So there is an example of somebody where Trump went after them on Twitter, and he's white. So why are you acting like Trump is only blasting people on Twitter because they're black? No, Trump is an equal opportunity blaster. If you go after him, he's going to go after you. That's how he operates. Trump has sent 43,000 tweets. So, a whole bunch of them he spent going after Crooked Hillary. Mm-hmm. And before Crooked Hillary was opponent, he went after Low Energy Jeb. And then after that, he went after Lion Ted.
And what does it matter how
And then
many
he went
he's
after
done anyway?
Little Marco. Well, he went after little Marco. Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is Latino. Mm-hmm. So I guess that qualifies him as a person of color. So that means that Trump is a racist because he went after Marco Rubio. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Even Siri doesn't know what y'all are doing right now. It's insulting. It's insulting. This reporter is dishonest. Victor Blackwell is dishonest as hell. He knows. Mm-hmm. He knows. If me and him were chilling, I say, "Yo, Vic, you gonna go back to that district ball?" He's like, "Hell no, fam, I'm not going back there." What you talking about? Nah, I like my cereal roachless. I like roachless cereal. I bet you like roachless cereal, Mr. Victor Blackwell.
That's so sad. I can't imagine raising my children in that environment.
Yeah, of course.
And people are stuck there.
Of course.
He needs to be honest with that money.
Yeah. Well, now I want to know, where is the money going?
Yeah.
Where's the money going?
Yeah, in the Old Testament, if you stole, you had to give back 4 times as much, right?
Right, yeah.
Put back 4 times as much as you took to this city and see what it doesn't look like.
Yeah, you get millions and millions of dollars. I want to see where Mr. Elijah Cummings lives. Where do you live?
Right.
Where do you live, Elijah Cummings? Let me see his net worth, because they're not going to give us his address, obviously.
Right.
Ballotpedia.
In 2004?
In 2004, he made 212. 2012, he made 915K. I mean, he's definitely upper middle class.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sure. Look at this. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. Just it's just straight up evil. Here he goes. 10 richest African Americans in Congress. There he is, number 1, Elijah Cummings, $1,185,000, based on congressional financial disclosures. Yeah. And I guarantee you that some of those assets have to do with this house.
I can't imagine being in that position and taking that money and knowing people were living in the conditions that they are, and then just making myself all comfortable and.
Yeah, and you know,
your job is to take care of that city.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't necessarily, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to live in the rat-infested place, but if your district and you're the representative of that district, then shut your freaking mouth. Just put your head down and go to work and make it better for our people, man. But all this political theater about the border, when it was people on your side that are voting against aid to get them help, it doesn't work. And now, every time one of these people does something about Trump, it always backfires on them.
Right.
So now, if they really, you know what? If I was Mr. Cummings, I haven't seen Mr. Cummings say anything in response. That's interesting.
That's true.
I'm going to look at Mr. Cummings' Twitter right now and see if he responds.
What can you say?
Here's Mr. Cummings here. Mr. President, we can address this together. 2 years ago, I went to the White House to ask you to endorse my bill to let the government negotiate for lower drug prices. I don't want to hear about that. I'm not seeing anything on Twitter where he responded. Okay, here it is. Mr. President, I go home to my district daily. Each morning I wake up and I go fight for my neighbor. It is my constitutional duty to conduct oversight of the executive branch, but it is my moral duty to fight for my constituents. Okay.
So then he doesn't live there.
Well then, of course he doesn't live there. But just yesterday I held a hearing on the skyrocketing prices of prescription drugs and the financial hardships that families across the nation and in Baltimore are facing. We could address this together, Wait a second. I don't want to know about drug prices, bro. I want to know about where the money's going. Because that's what Trump said. Right. And look, he says, we could talk about this together. Nah, fam, I don't want to talk about it together. I want to know what you're doing with the money.
Publicly.
Show us where the money is. You see what's interesting? Is that the other guy was all emotional and very angry. Now people are going to say, well, that's because, see, I don't trust this guy at all. They're going to say, well, that's because, he's a professional. He's maintaining his dignity. Stop it. This to me is a very, very soft answer to a very harsh. Look at this. This is going to be the.
Can someone please post a picture of his home and neighbors? Maybe one of these, somebody says.
Look at this lady. See, people aren't falling for it. Have you ever seen The Wire? It's about Baltimore's corruption and based on real events. It was an HBO series. Some of the scenes are very hard to watch. Right. The Wire was about the corruption in Baltimore. Yeah. Look at this. Cummings' wife refuses to turn over records on her nonprofit. Yeah, we're going to follow up on this. Now, if somebody was questioning my character and implying that I was taking millions of dollars or I was siphoning money or wasting money or whatever, and then said, bring on an investigation, I wouldn't say, let's talk about this together. I fight for my people. I'd be like, bring an investigation. Open the books. Let's talk about it. But now I'm looking and your wife has got some charity she's not opening the books for, and you had all he had all this smoke about the border, but then when Trump specifically called him out and said there needs to be an investigation, he changes the subject. Well, let's talk about prescription drugs. He wasn't talking about prescription drugs, fam. He was talking about the rat infestation and the crime, and he was implying that you were taking money to not help them. Why didn't you address that?
Not a word.
Rise in prescription drugs, because everybody knows Medicare for all is a major issue.
Oh, yeah.
Now he wants to get people focused on that. This guy, I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him at all, and I agree. There needs to be an investigation. And again, Trump is a genius. He's a political genius. If he says that, he probably already knows that he probably already has something on it.
Yep.
I'm so sick of the political theater. Democrats, wake up, please. 20 is right around the corner, and it seems to me that your only plan is let's impeach Trump on the B.S. Mueller situation, which blew up and just backfired on you. Or the second strategy is Trump threw out a racist tweet. Stop it! Stop! I command thee! This instant, you're gonna destroy our country. I feel like that black guy must be on the Blackwell dude. He must be Trump's. He must be working for Trump. Yeah. All these people.
I get embarrassed with the Democratic Party.
They all have to be working. They all have to be working for Trump. They all have to be working for Trump because there's no other explanation now. Look at this. Oh, Lord. No. Oh, my goodness. Top Democrat's wife may have gained a legal benefit from his committee activities. A charity run by the wife of Representative Elijah Cummings received millions from special interest groups and corporations that had business before her husband's committee could have been used illegally, according to an IRS complaint filed by an ethics watchdog group. Now, I'm not saying that this is exactly
Cummings was once heavily in debt, it says.
Cummings, 68, a Maryland Democrat. Where does it say that, babe? Where'd you see that?
Right here. But his financial situation has improved considerably over the past decade.
You don't say.
Oh, no.
You don't say. Hey, Mr. Mueller, we need another investigation. This is outside of all purview. We need another investigation, in part due to a hefty child support payments to his first wife and other two women he had children with. Oh, you left that part out. You were trying to maintain the man's dignity.
I was.
So let me get this straight. Trump goes after this guy, accuses him of corruption, basically implies that he's siphoning off money. His wife, as recently as May, had an IRS complaint filed against her for allegedly misappropriating finances for charities. Right. And he was in a terrible financial situation, which has improved considerably over the last 10 years. And then Trump comes in front of the nation and implies that you are dirty financially. And the only thing you have to say is, I fight for my neighbors and I'm lowering drug prices and we can talk about this together. That's what used to happen. You know, when me and my little brother used to get in a fight and I used to lose my temper or hit him in the jaw. Yeah. And he'd start crying. I'd be like, hey, let's talk about this. We can make a deal. I'll give you 5 pieces of my candy. Just please keep it down.
Yep, that.
You know, I had a situation with an individual a couple days ago, and I went to confront him at his place of business, and I was pretty vocal. Because I was purposely vocal. And I said some things about his character and his place of business. And he didn't say, how dare you say that about me? He was telling me to calm down and be quiet and such.
And then he hid behind a girl. It's a shame.
And here we are. Unbelievable. Every single time. It backfires. How much you want to bet right now my man Cummings is on the phone like, yo, fam.
Stop,
yo,
chill. Cut that Twitter out.
Yeah, cut it out, Yeah, I want to see that investigation. Yeah. I want to see that investigation.
Oh, I agree.
It's a disaster. Democrats! I'm going to say this at the end of every freaking video. You get a Tulsi Bernie ticket or a Bernie Tulsi ticket. You clear out the rest of the contenders because none of them are really contenders anymore. You get us a univocal ticket. You talk about Medicare for all. You talk about the border policy, making sure that that's good. You get us a nice, robust vision for a beautiful America, and people will vote for you, including me, especially if you can get a robust Medicare for all plan in there that has a detailed plan that actually shows us where we're going to get the money from, instead of what you did last time, Bernie, which was, and I love you, and I still would have voted for you last time, which was, we'll figure it out when we get there. You've had about 4 years to think about it now. We should be able to come up with a really, really good plan. Get us a plan, get on board, get on message. All this stuff shows me is that it seems to me that the Democrats do not feel confident that they will be able to beat this man straight up in a general election. That's what this is communicating to me. Stop being manipulated by the BS race card pulling. All of us know, when I say us, I'm talking about black people. All of us know that this was just theater. All of us know that. And it's not just black people. Eminem talked about it. You grew up in the trailer park. No disrespect to anybody in the trailer park. That's never been my experience. I don't want y'all to think I'm disrespecting y'all. But if you grew up in any situation where you're impoverished,
I lived in a trailer park when I was little.
You lived. You live there now? What happened when your parents got some money?
They sold that.
They got out of Dodge.
Got into a house.
That's what people do. So this is not even just a black thing. It's just across the board. When you're living in poverty, no human being wants. He didn't say that there are no human beings that live there because all black people are subhuman. He didn't say that. He didn't say there are no American citizens there because any black person that lives in Baltimore in that district is subhuman. He didn't say that. What he says no human being wants to live there, and he's right. Pelosi, get your party. They're drunk. America's doomed. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys.